Alrighty. Hello there, everybody. Welcome back to TCL Week 6, Day 4, I believe. This is or Day 3, if you 4 if you're counting what once was. But we have our final matchup of the week in our penultimate week between the Footlongs and Team Dark Horse. Footlongs coming off of a little bit of a rough patch, and Dark Horse coming off of a pretty strong, pretty good string of performances. My name's Bucks. I'm joined by the Nunu enthusiast himself, Mr. Wally Warp. Speaking of strong performances, you're coming off one yourself. How you feeling?
Pretty good. The new comment. So I actually was gonna post a picture about it and I never did. Thanks to my good buddy there, Toasty. This little guy actually sits on top of my monitor. So it's an apt and it's an apt
this is really
moniker,
cute.
I guess.
We all love Will Up. So yeah, we have an awesome matchup, like I said, between the Dark Horses and the Footlongs. I think one of the interesting things that we'll have to be paying attention to is the mid-jungle duo and the synergy between those two kind of roles. I think that's kind of where a lot of the storylines are. But as we are heading into the final week of the season, I think there's a lot of things that can be written in stone, but there's still a lot that's up for grabs.
Yeah, right. So the scores are kind of in an interesting place for this week. With Team Mantra gone, we have kind of a weird spot for the Footlongs to be in. They're not in any risk of being relegated or anything, but if they can win today, they get a free win next week. So they come out 5-2, which is fantastic for playoffs placement. And then on the opposite side of that, right, we've got Dark Horse, who's 3-2 currently. So they only really need to win one of their next two games here to make sure that there's not any problems. But if on the off chance they were to lose today and next week, it puts them in potentially a rough spot for relegation. So
absolutely,
it's wicked interesting in my mind, anyway.
Yeah, for sure. I think there's a lot of interesting things, like you said, that can be wrapped up within the last few weeks, and especially looking forward into that last little bit of the last three series for us. We have Dads versus Kangaroo Corral, Jungle Control versus Verdant Monkeys, and Dark Horse versus Front to Back. And I think there's a lot that can definitely change within those matchups. Do you have a matchup that you're looking forward to next week?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I've already kind of said it to Alec multiple times. If Verdant Monkeys wins next week, it just makes our life so much easier. So I'm kind of.
I mean, Verdant Monkeys.
Check my PayPal.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, Kangaroo Corral, you guys are looking like you're able to bounce back. Obviously, Front to Back last week with a sub, but nonetheless, a strong showing against one of the top teams. At the same time, though, there's a little bit of flux in the bottom half of the standings. Do you have a pick that you're worried about potentially with Jungle Control having a strong performance versus Verdant Monkeys, like you said? Are you worried about there being any potential cheese in the standings there?
Maybe not cheese. Just as far as I understand the standings, there's not really any chance for any real tiebreakers. So if anything goes even, then we're in a rough spot. So it's kind of a matter of people need to just lose. That we need to lose.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Yeah. So just winging a prayer maybe at this point. But new patch just dropped today. I think that's going to make today's match potentially really exciting. Maybe they'll just play their comfort stuff that's still good from last patch, and we won't have anything crazy. But especially in the jungle, since we've been talking about that already a little bit, a lot of buffs came through today. So I'm excited. If I see an Ivern today, I'll probably scream. So.
Yeah, particularly those Stridebreaker changes, going from a 90% decaying slow to just a 40% flat slow over those 3 seconds, and obviously some of the stat changes as well. So kind of a difficult situation overall for people that were really looking to build that item. At the same time, we are heading into Champion Select. Looks like that first ban is going to be that Vladimir, or excuse me, not the Vladimir, the Mordekaiser getting out of there, then followed quickly by the Vladimir. Just some top lane bans, I would imagine, coming out initially. Particularly that Vladimir could go in a few different directions, but definitely Mordekaiser going against Music X. We're seeing Music X play a lot of that lately.
Yeah, right. And I'm expecting the Darius to be contested today too, potentially. He just got buffed again. Even with the Stridebreaker Nurse, it's probably a net gain for him. So I know the Hippo's a big fan of it. Music not so much, but I would think it's at least on the back of their mind. Maybe we'll see something crazy and have an Alawi come out, but I doubt that. But I still think it's going to be a juggernaut / tank fast up top lane.
For sure. Followed quickly by the Trundle, Fizz, and the LeBlanc. Always have to respect Lynn the Legend there in the middle lane. The Trundle pick definitely going against 12-inch. A huge comfort factor, huge kind of level of consistency within their team, and we've definitely seen them play that Trundle comp many times.
Yeah, right. No, I mean, that's one thing about Raymond, right? He's 12-inch. He's really strong on the picks that he wants. So if there's a mistake made and you let him get what he wants, he's going to run the game over. So it's just a matter of understanding how to play the draft correctly.
Yeah, the Yasuo hover, I highly doubt that gets locked in. Obviously one of Hippo's comfort champions, but hasn't played it in a long time, as far as I'm aware. Maybe they've been kind of hidden practicing it, and as it starts to get a little bit low, and no, they just decide to lock in that Senna for tail. Obviously, very, very comfortable in the Senna, has played it so many times this season.
Yeah, in all seriousness, I'm surprised he didn't consider grabbing the Seraphine with that buff that came through, but I thought that might be
countered by the Yone hover. I mean, I can see Lin picking it. I'm not sure that Lin actually plays that much Yone, but just a little bit of a hover.
Okay.
Yeah, and it actually ends up being the Seraphine instead. I think that could go toward Droid. I know that Droid does play it, so it could be some sort of farming Seraphine in the bottom lane. Just trying to get Droid maybe off of some of those 80 carries, move him to some different areas where he can maybe contribute different things to the comp. At the same time, the Rise hover for just changes to the Nocturne and goes toward that. Very nice.
Okay. Yeah, and so with that Nocturne, just a friendly reminder for everyone, his laning supremacy got nerfed today, so more than likely that's a jungle Nocturne. You could still potentially get away with it because it's not like an end-all be-all kind of nerf that he got today, but it's certainly not one that you want to risk your game on, I think.
Yeah, followed by the Urgot hover. We have seen Urgot jungle before, especially with 12-inch has the notorious Urgot grasp build and has actually locked it in. I think that could definitely be an Urgot jungle that we're seeing here, but could potentially, I guess, if Hippo's been practicing it, but I definitely would expect that to go into the jungle. Meanwhile, we're seeing the Victor followed by Acid hover. That's kind of spicy, and it gets locked in really quickly. Wow, those last 4 picks going really, really fast.
Nice. Yeah. So we see kind of a clear dive comp starting to come through here on the side of Dark Horses. And it looks like, for the most part, we're sticking with our standard kind of kite comp that One Foot likes to go with. So I do remember from the games that we played there 2 weeks ago, the Nocturne into the Urgot, if the Urgot's ahead, is a really rough time. So they're going to be in an interesting spot with a scaling bot and mid laner.
Yeah, that's kind of an interesting situation. I think one of the nice things, and especially since they did initially see that Victor come out, it does give them some security to be able to farm up on the Kassadin, and Urgot not having as much game pressure as maybe some other roles. But in Seraphine in the bottom lane, the nice thing is it's very, very hard to punish. She sits back, she gets levels, she's able to farm when she can, but most importantly, once she gets that early mythic, she just insta-wave clears.
No, for sure. So yeah, I'm sure Sword will put himself on a roaming support to kind of enable that. And I think that'll be the onus between Teague on the Nocturne and Sword trying to set up plays around the map.
Yeah. Notably, they have a lot of good mobility between these teams. Obviously, Seraphine giving a little bit of a move speed boost with her heal, as well as Nocturne having that global presence in Kassadin with that ult, and the classic pick for Sword is going to be the Leona.
So this is Tail Up just hovering his favorite character in the whole game, Ivern. They're never going to pick it in a million years. So
yeah, seems unlikely, especially given the fact that potential for junglers has already been picked.
Of course.
Yeah, I am curious what IREP ends up playing this game. Obviously,
he did go for it. Oh my lord. Wow. Okay. Now, I want to just say that this is top. But we do know that IREP really likes Alawi, so there could be some craziness going on right now, and I think there might be.
Yeah, that it's definitely not the Yasuo. I can tell you that much.
Part of me wants to believe that it is, but I agree with you.
I mean, blind picking Yasuo top with 0 knockups on the rest of your team seems like kind of a bold move, and they're gonna go with it. Oh my goodness, what the heck?
They have one
That
knockoff on
is
their team, and maybe that's
extremely
all they
bold
need.
for
So
Footlongs. Music X now has the ability to counterpick top lane.
interesting.
Oh
Okay.
my goodness, what the heck?
Okay. So is this going to be a fasting Alawi bot lane? It's what it looks like they're setting up for, and I mean, with IRIP's comfort on the Alawi and that 10 movement speed boost that she just got, that's actually probably a lot safer than it looks.
Yeah, that's true, and it is actually going to be Droid on the Seraphine bottom. Give some ability to buff up the team, play toward that team comp, like the cast and the Nocturne run wild, which I think is what their team is really strong at. But the crucial story I want to draw attention to is going to be this Yasuo Scion top lane. Wow, that's kind of a crazy one.
I mean, that's rough. It's Winwall's not going to be doing a whole lot for him there, unfortunately. So we'll have to see if his mechanics are up to date, really. Multi-threat comp coming in from the side of 1 foot. So, I mean, it's just a matter of playing around your strong players. But it's going to be a pretty hard comp to execute into, I think, on the side of
Yeah,
Dark Horses.
without a doubt. I mean, you look at the setup for Yasuo, and it kind of doesn't really exist, right?
Right.
Not to mention the fact that Yasuo is going to inherently have a volatile lane, and Scion is happy kind of whatever the lane state is. And I think it might get to the point, especially if Scion has that early Bramble, that it'll be pretty hard to kind of trade and duel with them, especially if Scion is just able to kind of trade back with Grasp, trade back with any sort of shield that he's able to pop up. I don't know. It's kind of I wonder if we're instead of seeing that jungle mid happen a lot, if instead we're going to see a lot of jungle top.
I honestly would think so. I mean, the Scion's a pretty easy setup for the Urgot. I'd definitely say that the Urgot Yasuo has the damage advantage early, but the CC's not there. So it's a lot harder to execute on.
Yeah, I think both of these teams kind of playing some interesting comps that don't necessarily have that early pressure. I mean, you think Senna wants to scale, Victor wants to get some of his stacks up. You think about Yasuo has the ability to just snowball, but both of these teams, I'm curious to see how these early fights go. And I think a lot is going to ride on the pathing of these junglers, particularly between 12-inch and Teague. The Nocturne and the Urgot, Nocturne potentially, I'm not super familiar with Urgot clear. I'm going to be completely honest, but I would imagine Nocturne has the ability to clear a little bit faster. And some of these early moves are going to be really, really important.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you on that. Honestly, they're both going to more or less want to farm till 6. Urgot has a little bit better of a time, I'd say, if I want to be generous ganking, but it's still going to be pretty slow, I think, for this start. Both these lanes are kind of set up to do really effective 1-3-1s, so I'm curious to see what their kind of macro plan is overall.
Yeah, I think nonetheless, we're seeing a lot of comfort come out. Mm-hmm. We've been spending a lot of time talking about comps, and at the end of the day, a lot of TCL kind of hinges on not just what the comp shakes out to be, not just how you draft, but how each person feels on that particular champ. If you're feeling the Yasuo, Hippogriff can absolutely have the potential to pop off, even if it doesn't necessarily fit in with whatever else the mini meta is within TCL. Althena, lots of games on the Victor, Senna, a lot of games on the Jet, a lot of games on the Senna. But on the other side, we're seeing the same thing. Sword basically has played Leona this entire season. Lin, I know, has a lot of experience on the casted, T getting that Nocturne once again, and Music X with one of his kind of classic tank picks.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you on that. I think there's something to be said about not exactly trying to play like a pro player, right? Like you play your League of Legends. That's kind of the
absolutely
the golden rule of TCL. Especially with this Yasuo, I'm sure I haven't looked at chat yet. I'm sure they're kind of freaking out a little bit. Especially this season, I think Hippo's gotten underestimated a lot, and when he has, he's managed to pull some games away. So I'm really excited to see what happens as we get into game here.
Yeah, for sure. I think one of the difficult things. Oops. All right. Trying to see if we're back. Okay. Yeah, one of the difficult things about these particular comps is when you look at the dragon control, Seraphine offers a lot of ability to kind of get in and out with the Leona, right? They have the engage with the Leona, they have the engage with the Seraphine ult over top of Leona going in. I really like the synergy that we're seeing out of that. Meanwhile, Alawi and Senna don't they kind of are doing a similar thing but worse to me. You think about dragon control, you think about bot like both of these bot laners are kind of looking to do the same thing: stack up, farm, get stacks, and just be able to participate within the greater context of a team fight. But I'm not really sure. How do you think Alawi kind of fits into what his team wants to do?
So I think the name of the game with this, honestly, is that they have to be two objectives first. If they're not, I think they just get boxed out completely, and they don't really get to do anything. That being said, like, maybe you get a lucky pull and kind of poke some people out, but chances of that are happening are probably pretty low. And this kind of comp that they're going for, this like kite style or like counter engage style, if they're behind, it's going to be a lot harder to execute on. Alawi doesn't do a whole lot from behind, and if his characters like Urgot or Yasuo for that matter. So
absolutely, as we see, they've now posted up here in this little side brush. Minions are spawned. It looks like the recalls are going to be a little late coming out for some of the laners, especially particularly for the bottom lane. They're now recalling, about going to hit lane just fine, especially with the leash coming out from the other side. The Tentacle already being spawned, and 12-inch and Hip are looking to potentially take this buff for themselves.
Yeah, it's nice to see. I gotta say, it's pretty rare that teams invade in TCL as of late, so it's nice to kind of see them pivot something. It looks like Music was actually maybe semi-prepared for it with his positioning, so they should have a good idea that his red's being taken here. But that being said, it's proactive plays like this that kind of screw teams up. So
yeah, I'm definitely potentially looking for that vertical jungle. Teak definitely has an idea of what is going on here. Realizes that none of the camps are being taken up down here in the bottom lane, and Lin especially spotting out that Raptors. Now it's very clear that there's a vertical jungle occurring. Teak pinged out, but I think both junglers have to just be ready to concede this and play for opposite sides of the map. 12-inch already walking toward that middle lane, walking down, actually does not want to concede the vertical jungle, wants to make sure that he's still able to get any sort of camps up. Ooh, as the bottom lane actually starts to respond, IREP and Tailwhip walking backwards, sacking their own wave. Now Teak in a very, very awkward spot, might potentially just have to execute, put himself behind a little bit on his clear.
yeah, this shouldn't be out too bad if he just executes here. Spawn timers are low enough, thankfully.
Actually, I think that's totally okay. I mean, 12-inch spent so much time walking for Raptor camps all the way down chasing that, and the bot lane had to sack basically a full wave chasing that, what ended up just being an execute. Teak might just be one camp down or something like that.
Yeah, basically, right? And now he gets a clean top to bottom clear. So it honestly probably couldn't have gone better for them on that. And big props to the bot side of Dark Horse for getting that vision down for him, just so he knew where he was safe to rotate out and kind of tactically, if we want to call it that.
Yeah, exactly. And particularly in the middle lane, we're seeing Athena with no real ability to pressure this Cassin. He kind of just pushes the wave in and then pressures the wave, but he's already used a lot of his mana bar. Lin the Legend's still sitting fairly healthy, particularly with his fleet footwork.
Yeah, I mean, he just wants to scale, so...
Ooh, as we see the solo kill first blood top lane, we missed a little bit of that, but Music X getting solo kill up by Hippogriff. Now Teak here to clean him up and get the return kill on the backside by 12-inches here. The fight might not just be over just yet. Music X does have TP available to him, is alive, should he choose to do it. He looks like he's staying in pad, potentially looking for the angle. Ends up just being a very nice play from Hippogriff, blowing the flash, getting the solo kill on Music X up here in the top lane.
I'm curious why he didn't go ahead and use his...
Oh, Teak's now looking middle lane. I think a level 4 versus level 3 jungler. Lin the Legend now walking into it. Interesting.
He's about to face check here, though.
Yeah, IREP and Tailwhip have actually roamed up. The spell shield coming through, blocking up that initial part of the route, but still gets rooted up. It looks like at the end now, Sword roaming toward. They're trying to prevent this scuttle take. Actually, they might just be looking for it themselves. I don't know. Tailwhip and IREP are kind of giving up a lot down here in the bot lane, but the CS numbers are still pretty even. Now 12-inch is going to secure that scuttle for himself.
Yeah, gonna be a little slow. He missed a flip on it, unfortunately, but should still be okay. We got a heavy trade coming in here, but it looks like Teague might be potentially in his head a little bit already with these pad things. He just went right bad to level 4 chickens. If he was timing his camp, should know what's up right now. So he's just lucky he didn't get caught out in that river and really.
Ooh, actually a very nice trade up here in the top lane. As MusicX might just get the solo kill back. Oh my goodness, Hippogriff feeling himself a little bit too much, dashing around with that flow, and MusicX just secures it with the bop. Oh my goodness. Hippogriff crucially still does have TP, and he's gonna do it back into the top lane as MusicX has the Q charging up, is able to land it. Now Hippo hitting level 5, MusicX crucially also level 5, but Hippo TP back in and is already half health. That's not what you want happening there. As we see the bot lane, there's a little bit of an engage happening. Swordmaster going forward, Teague ganking down here in the bot lane, and they get a kill over onto the farming Alawi, but Swordmaster looking mighty juicy down here as 12-inch is roaming down level 4 himself. Seraphine getting rooted up, flash flip over from the 12-inch. Now Droid actually flashes for no reason, dies as another TP comes down here. Nice counter gank from 12-inch as Sword might just be in a little bit of trouble as he gets chased down by that Glacial No, is forced to flash back out, dodging out the center route.
Interesting. Okay, wow, that was a really nice extended play. I like the top port there just to kind of make sure that nothing else screwy happened there. A lot of flashes blowing there.
Ooh, there's the MusicX ultimate. He is full level up on Hippogriff. Hippogriff just sidestepping it very nicely. MusicX now out of mana. I think that just might be the engage.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, so yeah, so we do see with these trades here, right? The Scion doesn't really care about the wind wall or anything, and the Q takes up pretty much most of the E range that Yasuo's gonna be able to pick up unless he like does the moons correctly. So we're seeing that come through. And before we kind of got into the fight that happened earlier when they met top lane, if you noticed, 12-inch didn't push in the lane when we set it, when it was like basically frozen under MusicX's tower, and I think that's mainly what resulted in
the 1 HP smite. Yeah, I don't think Teague expecting MusicX to do quite that much damage over there, but crucially all that pressure in the top lane secures them the blue buff steal. As we see the Alawi vessel coming through, but a gank is actually here in the top lane. MusicX does have flash available to him, might be looking for that disdain. Actually ends up flashing the Urgot Purge instead. Excuse me, not the Purge, the Corrosive Charge instead. And is able to get out scot-free. Does have the TP still.
Yeah, he should still be in a pretty good spot. I mean, he just picked up his really heavy armor items here, so coming back to lane, Yasuo's not going to really do much to him until he gets another back off. So even if he's down a little bit of CS right now, I'm sure he's a happy camper.
Yeah, Droid actually farming pretty decently down here in the bottom lane, but Alawi actually farming better. Has that actually tier Alawi, as we've seen a little bit of a trend more toward that lately. Tailwhip does have that support item. Crucially, Althena going tier himself. They are some stacky boys, and we're just seeing scaling across the map.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's mainly just going to be the jungle in the top, I think, continuing to go at it until these late game scalers kick in. So we're probably in for a long game unless things go really sideways.
Right, and we're seeing a little bit of a gold advantage, about a kill's worth, an advantage of the footlongs, and I think most of that is coming in the CS difference. We're seeing a little bit of CS difference jungle, a little bit of CS difference top, and a little bit in the bottom lane as well, and I think that just kind of cumulatively adds up. No,
for sure, right? I mean, the only real gold difference we have here right now is the supports, and that's to be expected with the
Oh, there's the first Nocturnal over onto 12-inch. Actually does so much damage. The Fear coming through, and they're going to give it over to Lind the Legend. Although Lind the Legend might not be able to secure it, actually might give his own life. Is forced to flash back out, but Sword is on the roam. Lands the Zenith Blade over on the Athena. I'm not sure they have enough pressure to be able to get a kill, but Lind the Legend almost died on the backside as the Sentinel Jet snipes him out. Very nice ultimate from Tailwhip, as they're still scrapping over here in the middle lane, and Seraphine is on the very, very long roam in toward the middle lane. Does not get any kill participation for his trouble, as top lane a little bit of a scrap happening. Hippogriff might be looking for another solo kill. It might be a little bit of a dangerous game, particularly if we see the shield come out from the Scion. MusicX just gonna be able to farm it up, as Ira walking very, very far forward. As the TP, he might just be certainly dead here. When you are a melee champion walking into the tower by yourself, he's also notably out of mana, and they're just going to be able to secure this kill. Yet another one going toward Lin.
Okay. Yeah, so nice small punish there, just to kind of equalize things back out. I mean, we're actually at only about the kills worth still here, so as we watch the dive come through.
Yeah, and he's going to be able to secure it up. Hippogriff living with 1 HP, but is able to use his dash through the minions and survive. Very nice play from Hippogriff. Music perhaps staying a little bit greedy for that wave.
Yeah, and it does look like they're going to be able to punish for the dragon here as well for that, so not too bad of an exchange there. That's essentially the TP that came through to secure that dragon, and with a 3 gold cop, which is a nice little spring point.
And there's yet another Nocturnal. I thought he just used this thing as 12-inch is going to get feared up yet again, and they're going to be able to secure another kill, this time going over onto T. They tried to pass it over onto Lin, but 12-inch walking a little bit too far forward as the 4-man road comes through, and it's going to be a Rift Herald secure. Excellent objective control from Team Dark Horse.
Yeah, they're just going to be able to keep rolling these objectives over off these global ultimates. And this is going to be a really nice spot that they're going to be in here, unless something kind of comes through soon on the side of Onefoot's team. But we still got another 3.5 minutes for plates. So
exactly, that Paranoia is such a strong ability, and he is just using that thing off of cooldown. Tilp and IREP very happy to be down here as a big wave gets popped up, and there's a lot of Senna Souls. He's going to try and line it up to get that Q. Oh, not able to get it, but they do get the Vessel over from Sword. As IREP is actually under tower here, he's going to be taking up tower damage, as there's the Seraphine ult, keeping him locked up, and there's the Ignite, and they get the 2v2 kill down here in the bottom lane. IREP going a little bit too hard under tower, and he just gets locked up by the Leona and the Seraphine.
Yeah, IREP definitely trying to throw his weight around a little too much. I think he's a little happy he's on one of his favorite champions here.
Yeah, and that's with the Ignite coming out even a little bit late from Sword.
Yeah, right, and they still got the flash for their troubles too, so...
Exactly. I think it's just really funny. IREP goes for the full tentacle smash under the turret. Sword CCs him up. Droid says, yes, I want more of that. Hits him with the encore right after. Very nice CC chain as the Music X ultimate, Sign ultimate, gets out of there. Coward as he runs away, and he is just totally fine.
Yeah, so, I mean, as we're rolling into 12 minutes here, we're starting to...
Ooh, there's the Paranoia coming through again. Lin the Legend ulting back over the wall, but they don't have enough pressure to be able to get onto Athena, and the very late Senna ult from Tail Whip. Not sure you needed to blow that global cooldown just yet, but at the same time, he had no idea Athena might have been calling for it with the Paranoia, but hit for him crucially. 85 to 66 CS up here in the top lane as Rift gets dropped. Here in the middle lane, Teague very low on the mana. Actually might just die here. He's forced to blow his flash as Lin the Legend sees the opportunity, goes for the angle there, and the Rift actually knocks Athena back a little bit as Lin the Legend secures the kill. Very nice play. Caesar blows everything as there's actually the Urgot ult and Tail Whip on the roam as very long range from both sides, and Stroid and Sword are still in the bottom lane pushing.
Yeah, so no, I mean, that was an awesome punish there. They kind of read the Herald coming through there for the middle plates. It was a 5-plate tower, so they had a lot of room to wiggle with there. They didn't have to worry about the tower going down and baiting themselves or anything. And Alawi, as strong as she is with her AoE wave clear, was able to just kind of let Tail Whip roam up and guarantee that they punished for that dive.
Yeah, Seraphine with this empowered high note farms extremely well. Doesn't have the items to get up to it. Actually going the Moonstone instead of AP. But nonetheless, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with moving to the late game, buffing up this Cassid and buffing up this Nocturne. At the same time, on the other side, Hippogriff, not a slouch at the moment, has some crit and attack speed and lifesteal going toward that shield bow being built up. Meanwhile, the armor response from the Scion. There's the Paranoia yet again toward the middle lane. Athena is just getting absolutely punished over and over, and Lin gets yet another kill. Wow, Athena having no fun. Teague has visited his lane so many times.
Yeah, for sure, right? So, I mean, we've been seeing it coming through, but we're seeing the sticking power of the Cassid and the Nocturne put together. I mean, no hard CC in the Cassid's kit, but we have like dash ready to go at basically any moment.
There's the unstoppable onslaught as Teague has just roamed straight from the middle lane up to the top lane. The sweeping blade coming through isn't able to save him as he goes back into it. The fear comes through as well. Music X flashing forward with the shield. Now Hippogriff is just going to be dead meat as that last little bop from the axe of Music X is able to secure the kill as Lin the Legend is actually on a deep invade on his own, and there's the TB. They might look for a 3-man dive. Athena, oh no, they're just going to call it off and let them do their thing.
Yeah, I think if they go for that dive there, they'll lose mid-tower.
They might look at it instead. Sword on a roam, does have his ultimate available to him, flashes forward, is able to get onto 12-inch. Now Senna might have the damage to be able to help him out as the 4-man is actually here. Wow, excellent punish yet again from the roaming gank squad of Team Dark Horse.
Yeah, we're seeing the power of the Leona coming through there. I mean, it's one of Sword's favorite champions, and Leona, with her ult, really doesn't care if Senna is untargetable, and doesn't care if there's a wind wall in your enemy team. Like, there's a lot of, between her and the Scion, there's a lot of AoE CC that's coming through that they can't exactly deal with.
Yeah, I think crucially, Tailwind flashing out of that initial engagement, 12-inch not having that available to him, ends up dying as the vessel gets pulled over the wall. It's just on the Scion though, and they're going to be totally fine to just continue forcing this dragon. The Paranoia is available. In fact, almost all ultimates, actually no, not that it's level outside, but there's the Paranoia blocking any sort of steal attempt. The Encore was available, so they just decide to move around the side, and they're just going to disengage with their spoils.
Yeah, I mean, looking really comfy here on the side of Team Dark Horse. As they look like they're going to try to just sneak out this mid tower.
They might look for engage here, as they might have overcommitted over onto this mid tower. That is first turret. The Hippogriff is in a compromised position, but actually the Urgot ult gets in a very nice spear as the Althana stun actually lands onto two different people. Droid flashing back out, landed the Encore onto two, but health bars are looking very low for the rest of his team. I'm not sure they can follow up on it. Wow, what a fight.
Nice. I actually expected that to go messier, to be honest, but we're kind of seeing some of the AoE damage on the side of One Foot that is pretty powerful in these sit and hold your ground team fights. So, actually 2k up now off of that play, so we're looking like a pretty nice swing here. Oh, okay. Okay, everyone. So, class is in session. AI had to step out for a moment. I've got to take over for a bit solo, so sorry for possibly my inability to keep up with the dank plays, but we'll do our best. As we scuttle along here, we've just kind of got our lane assignments sorting out. We've got Baron coming up, or actually it'll be Second Herald coming up here in a moment, so gonna be all quiet here unless they decide they want to go push for this mid tower or go for a Herald play. If we take a look at the items here, looks pretty standard for the most part. We still do have the Stride Breaker coming through on the Nocturne, and the Tiamat start, or well, Titanic Hydra start that 12-inch likes to do on his Urgot. That should transition into a Frozen, or not Frozen Heart, a Frostborn Gauntlet or whatever the hell it is. Oh my god, it's like I don't play tank junglers. Noticeably, the Eclipse on the side of the Alawi, I couldn't tell you what she's supposed to go nowadays, but I would have assumed it'd be Core Drinker or Stride Breaker. So, very interesting to see that Omni Vamp combined with the Pen, but there are some pretty tanky frontliners on the side of Team Dark Horse. So, definitely a debatable but understandable call. As we have a Fed Cassidon and a Seraphine in this game, the wave clear is starting to come through. Certainly a little harder for the siege side of things, but the wave clear is pretty strong into this multi-ranged threat on the side of Team One Foot. And as we go through here, things are just going to keep being quiet, it looks like. If I had to resume, we're probably not going to get anything too major until this next dragon spawn. It is about 2 minutes out, so nothing too crazy going on just yet. Potentially the team's a little afraid to go for this Herald here. Understandable. We do have 4 bot on the side of Team Footlongs, though, so if they get spotted on a ward here, it might be a potential Herald rush. They go in here. They are spotted on, I believe, a blue ward. Oh, it's their own blue ward. Okay. So Lin actually in a pretty dangerous spot right now, and I'm not sure that he's aware. So this could potentially be a pick here. If they paid attention to that tentacle going down just now, they know he's there. Okay. They have sniffed him out. Looks like they're going to go for the commit. It is a Cassidon, so very good chance he just bars over 12-inch and gets out. But, ooh, the flash commit. Okay, yep, we should see just a very simple pickup on the Lin. Castin, obviously pretty mobile character, but doesn't matter when you're committing flashes and hard CC and connecting. Thankfully they are punishing with the Herald. Hello.
Sorry about that. A little bit of personal emergency came up. I just had to run and take care of that. Really
No worries. I just wanted my mouth talking bullshit. So.
No. I come back to look at Lin instead, and they're taking inner turret. Wow, what a change in the game state all of a sudden.
Yeah, they managed to find a really nice pocket of vision to get behind Lin. So, oh yeah. Yeah, getting yelled at production for my bad language. Sorry about that, folks at home.
Oh.
Yeah. But yeah, so we are on the crest of this new dragon spawning. Footlongs is in a pretty good position to just kind of take it away on spawn, so I'm not expecting anything too crazy to happen. They did get the...
Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say they did pick up the Herald, so maybe they'll just look for a counterplay.
Yeah, the crazy thing is, despite how the game feels, they're actually up like 4.5k gold on the footlong side. That's a lot of money. Swordmaster walking in blind and just gets the soul pulled up, and that's half his health right there. There's the value out of the allow around these objective setups as long as you have Vision Droid on the side, on the flank position. But the Paranoid comes through, and actually that puts him into the pit because Wasu is black last pump, but the Unstoppable Onset knocks him up, and there's the Encore coming through, but there's so much damage coming through. Wow, the Dark Horses just got absolutely melted. Droid not in position to be able to buff up his team at all. Hillwhip actually flashing forward with the heal. Now Lin the Legend is into the backline looking for Hip Grip on the backside, but he is just going to get absolutely murked up himself. Pops the Zanyas, but might just be dead on the end of it. No, is able to go over the wall, but Althena flashing after him. Is still using all that casting mobility, but he is clean out of mana. Might just be dead here now, but nobody's actually chasing him. They instead went for Sword. Lin the Legend might just be able to look for a back here, as Sword is taking them on a merry vacation around the map. There's that Frost, there's the Everfrost rooting him up, and I think that's an extended 4 for nothing. 4 for 1.
Yeah, so, I mean, that was a fight for third dragon, and we talked about it before the game started, right? Yeah. Footlongs get to an objective first. Actually, it's really not, it's not yours.
He gets about half health, might just be looking for this kill over. There's the Everfrost. Droid might be helping out his team, and they get a shutdown from the Footlongs over onto the Cassidon. Crucially, we have to pay attention for that level 16 Cassidon spike. Nothing to be trifled with.
No, certainly not. I mean, that is a shutdown handed over. It's not going to equalize the gold out by a long shot, but still pretty nice to get that jungler off the map for a little bit. Get Nocturne back on pace here. He's only slightly behind. So.
Yeah, I think one of the crucial things was they were fighting kind of that 2v5 during that dragon fight inside the pit, and they just got melted. Seraphine was in flank position, got a really nice encore, but perhaps needed to just be behind her team, buffing them up with her abilities.
For sure, right? So, I mean, we had Nocturne go into the pit pretty early, and then they kind of waffled on what they wanted to do. Lin hovered the pit and didn't just jump in right away, afraid that he'd get blown up, which is understandable. So, a little disjointed, unfortunately, going into a river dragon bush fiesta. So
yeah, for sure. This Yasuo now with 5 deaths, halfway to his proverbial power spike. But 12-inch actually seems to be doing quite a bit of damage in these fights. As a team, they just have so many damage sources that they seem to be okay just waiting for the enemy team to engage on them and then responding.
For sure. And it was pretty quick, so folks at home, you might not have noticed it, but he did go for that the tank mythic there for a second, and then he actually switched it back out for the Black Cleaver and the Bammy Cinder. So he's kind of realizing that he's his team's damage right now, and he's going to just... They're going to keep playing around this.
Ooh, a little bit of a trap here. Sword walking in all alone has to be available to help him, but they might just be securing a kill over onto this Leona. Nope, they just get the Vessel, force him out of this fight. The Solar Flare does come through, is enough to force them away from that little choke point, and they don't have the damage to chew through him.
Yeah, not quite, unfortunately. They had enough roots there and things to probably get that kill if they really wanted it, but they don't exactly know where the rest of the team is, so I respect them not going for the blind pick.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing is you look at these levels across the board. Lin the Legend, level 14, the highest in the game, looks like by quite a long shot. Teague and Music X quickly following that up, but you look at the story of the bot lane, Droid a level down, Swordmaster actually 3 levels down, so the disparity between the gold and experience levels across the board is just really, really large. Ledge might be looking for Hippogriff here. Actually, Hippogriff using that sweeping blade going through the wave. Lin Legend with the Everfrost is able to secure it. There's that shield though being popped, getting all that lifesteal back for him. Lin Legend is forced to disengage here now with IREP actually TPing into this. And there's that last breath coming through, and they're able to get the kill, turn around. Actually a solo kill for Hippo.
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely an insurance TP, but what that's going to let them do right now is killed a really big wave bot. So
and there's Paranoid comes through into the middle lane, and the Unstoppable as well. And there's the Encore over top, landing onto everyone. Very nice CC chain, and they're going to be able to secure at least 2 and potentially 3 on the backside. As Swordmaster is looking for to CC Thelvich up. The flash takes him over the wall, and he's able to get out of there. Yasuo and Alawi are still pushing down here in the bottom lane. Thelvich is just going to be on base duty, stopping them from getting back. Droid just taking the lock as Teague is now here trying to stop him from stopping his team, and they're going to be able to get an inhib off of this with Lin still being dead. Death timers are stalling because of the XP difference. Wow, that's an inhib for 2 deaths.
Yeah, I've got to say, I mean, they were probably praying to just get the inhib with the 3 people up mid, and the fact that they were able to pull it off with 2 down is pretty impressive. We even had
for a little bit of a gauge on his own. Doesn't quite have the team to help him. Swordmaster on a little bit of a flank, but IREP is able to flash back out. Swordmaster going back into it, and they're just going to give him up for dead as IREP's able to get out of that.
Yeah, no, the survivability of Alawi definitely coming through there big. As we can see, I mean, that's only the 2nd death for Sword, but he's been the main one having to go in and kind of force things. So if these big team fights come through and he goes down, he's going to just lose all this XP that IREP gets to kind of have because he's just alive.
I think one of the things we haven't necessarily talked about as much is the availability of a triple TP combo, right? So Lin keeps wanting to side lane, but he keeps just getting TP'd on and dying, right? Like that maybe you just recognize that they're going to have more global pressure than you, even with the Nocturne Paranoia, and you just have to concede the side lanes and just be available to your team to be able to force fights, because he keeps getting picked and it keeps costing his team big.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. It's maybe it's just a matter of him taking super out with him and kind of checking his own flanks and things, but they really do want to not go into just straight team fights, because at this point they're probably not going to win them. So yeah, it's maybe just a matter of talking about the vision game plan ahead of time as opposed to playing reactively on these TPs that are out.
Absolutely, and maybe they just end up picking better fights. Maybe the key is, instead of putting him in the side lane alone, that they just have their own globals available to help him out. That being said, on the side of Dark Horse, we're seeing a lot of healing reduction. Thornmail, the Putrefire, plus the Bramble, just for good measure on top of that. Makes a lot of sense given the fact that we do see Shieldbow Bloodthirster in the top lane, all of Senna's healing available, as well as Alawi healing from her ultimate.
Yeah, so I mean, good on them. The team's well prepared for that kind of stuff. It's nice to see no one just kind of solo queuing out and thinking they need more damage. They've kind of made it apparent that if they see a pick, they can go for it pretty easily. So it's just a matter of kind of hopefully getting Lin to pull enough aggro that they can make plays again.
For sure. I think an interesting thing that they might be kind of coming up to is almost a damage problem. A lot of their damage is melee range. Their range damage is support Seraphine, right? So when all these fights get messy, you're forced to be in melee range. You're getting CC'd up in melee range. All of a sudden, even though you have enough damage on paper, if you're CC'd, you don't ever get to put that out because you're a melee champion. As hold the phone there, because Swordmaster and Paranoia is coming through over onto the Alawi. Is the Ignite coming through? He's actually surviving for so long. Swordmaster actually getting low himself, and they're able to fear him up and get the kill. There's the TP coming through. Lin the Legend on the flank, actually getting over onto the Senna. The Zani's coming through as well, and the fight might just be a little bit rough here. Actually, Droid whiffs the Encore, but Music X is here in the middle of the fight to support his team. They might be looking for the turnaround, but it's still a 4v3 crucially. They flash forward, get the knockup over onto Music, but he is a tanky guy. They're not going to be able to do anything on the back side of this. Castanet is still very, very strong, but he's going to be chilling that base.
Yeah, and right there, I mean, we saw they wanted to turn that play around, and they had to commit the Yasuo flash for it, and they still weren't able to pull anything off. So it's the comp very much is a one-directional comp, which is backwards, not forwards. So Seraphine, Cassidy, they can all kind of do that forward and back. So good read on their part to know that they can just walk away there.
Yeah, they've certainly had a little bit of a harder time forcing fights, right? They've done great when Dark Horse have been able to force fights into them, into a favorable situation for them. But as far as like forcing fights on their own, it looks a little bit more difficult.
No, certainly. I mean, that's the draft that they picked for themselves, so not really that surprising. Looks like they're just going to give up the Scuttle grab here.
Oh, sorry, that's Scuttle. Sorry, my stream all of a sudden went to... My internet, I think, was a little sus there.
That Scuttle should be down by the time Dragon spawns, if not very close to it, so it's not going to be a big deal.
Yeah.
They're going
to
probably
just... the fact that this is Eclipse Alawi, by the way?
I mentioned it while you were gone.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah. Yep. So, Not the craziest thing I've ever seen. It makes sense, I guess, on paper to me. I would imagine she's probably more Gore Drinker centered. I haven't seen her in a long enough time that I'm not entirely sure. But it's either that or tank item.
I mean, she does have some nice synergy, like especially if you're able to pop it when you're low. You get that shield, and then that shield enables you to heal back up. But I mean, I almost feel like I wonder what the damage, how the damage, or excuse me, not the damage, healing / shield values work out between that and Sunder.
Oh yeah, Sunder would be an option too, wouldn't it? Okay, yeah, because of the W resets. I'm more thinking of the like the old Black Cleaver path type thing that she would go.
Sure.
But that makes sense to me too, with the Muramana and everything. So.
Absolutely. Droid almost stacked, fully stacked up onto his tier as well. Does have the Putrefier and the Archangels available to him. Teague is walking a little bit far forward in the middle lane as the rest of his team is here to support, but a little bit of a concave happening on the top side of River. Ooh, nice vision though from the Footlogs. They're able to see everything that they are doing to posture and that little choke there. As the Dragon is starting to respawn very soon, Lin the Legend might be looking for his own flank, but they might be able to force something into this choke.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, they do sort of have control of the river here. They do have Lin on the bot side, but they know he's there. So I'd say they have the pro here for this, which is what they want. It's just going to be a matter of execution on the engage when they might go again.
Yeah, they have one very nice pixel ward, but otherwise Dark Horse are kind of operating in the line. Nothing on the Dragon, able to get the blast gun back over top. Cassin is very mobile, 12-inch walking forward on his own, getting a little bit of a canister over onto Droid, as they might just be looking to go for the engage. There's the onslaught. Leona now in the backline, and so is Paranoia as well. The long card lands onto basically everyone. Very nice ultimate from Droid, but on the backline, and Hypogrip is 1v9 with the rest of his team, still fighting Teague and the Music X Scion, as IREP is now in the middle of it. 12-inch is still doing deeps with everything, but Hellbars are looking so good with the Seraphine to kill everyone up, as the Cassin is just running absolutely rampant, but no, he gets executed by IREP. 12-inch and Senate are still alive though, and they're just going to be dealing so much damage as well. Are able to get the kill over on to Swordmaster, but it is a 4 for 2 in a very, very extended fight, and a lot of healing coming through, and the fight just would not end.
Yeah, that's, I mean, I'm actually pretty surprised with that, all things considered. It was pretty subtle, but if you noticed with Lin doing that flank early, just kind of going from blast guns and trying to get in position, they backed out of the river and let Dark Horses into position. So I want to say that's probably the major contributing factor to them losing that fight, honestly. But
Hippo going really deep, not really able to get the kill over onto Droid because the rest of Droid's team does turn to help him. I almost wonder if he has to be saving his wind wall for that Seraphine ult, that Encore.
If you're not using it for that, I don't know what you're using it for.
I mean, yeah, so. I mean it's really that or to block Leona Zenith Blade.
Right.
Engage. Otherwise, there's not a whole lot of value that you're getting from wind wall. You really need to, I think by far the most value that you're getting is going to be that Encore, especially in that fight. Droid got like a 4-man Encore or something like that.
No, for sure. And I mean, they got to just kind of sit on those ocean bushes and play that too. So it really is advantageous to them to be in the position that they managed to get themselves into.
For sure, yeah. And the Legend crucially hitting that level 16 Cassidon. Man is extremely strong, has the Frozen Heart, so also extremely tanky. Fortunately, being Cassidon, he doesn't necessarily have to worry about having damage because his kit inherently gives him a ton of damage as he just blasts into his turret.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be the name of the game now, right? He's going to just kind of keep going on the sidelines and be a menace that the kind of weaker wave clear side of Footlongs isn't necessarily going to deal with. So.
Yeah, 12-inch walking forward with that Corrosive Charge plus Purge active. Trying to get a little bit of chip damage, but he actually fairly tanky. Has the Sterix available to him, plus GA. Has actually a ton of CDR. I'm not really sure. I wonder what his cooldown on his ultimate is. Can we get a quick cover on the Nocturne just out of curiosity? What's the cooldown on that Paranoia right now?
It should be roughly about a minute.
Hard to say. As it's about 45 seconds, he just uses it, and there's the TD coming through. The Senna ult is a very, very good one, but the Encore is even better. He forces his team into a choke from Lin, and it's just going to be a wash, as IREP wasn't actually even there for that fight. It's a double kill from Music X, and so much damage from that Cassin as he ults over top of the Seraphine.
Good lord. Yeah, I mean, with these timers, I don't think this will be game, but it's going to be pretty close. They don't really have the wave yet to completely commit to anything, but
yeah, I mean, I think we're kind of having the issue that we were worried about with this Yasuo, right? There's no setup for the last breath.
Mhm.
So he has he has to set himself up, which he can't really do against this team. As IREF is going to be using his own ultimate, but it might just be a difficult ask for him as Teague paranoids back into the back line once again because it's just a 45-second cooldown. Solo's up, tail whip, and it is definitely going to be game after that one.
Yeah. So I mean, we kind of just saw them realize that it's a big group and pull the trigger first.
Make a valiant effort, but
in the driver's seat. So. Okay, so as we flip over here, I mean, pretty standard kind of bloody game for TCL, 1827. So not insane, but definitely pretty good.
Yeah. I want to draw attention to the fact that I think Droid had some really good ultimates throughout that entire game. He's able to sit on the back line, ultimate through his entire team, and that sets up Lin to be able to get just absolutely huge rift walks.
Yeah, no, for sure, right? The nice thing about the casting is he can warm his rift walk up ahead of time, and all they have to do is wait for that clutch ult, and it's pretty much all over with crying.
Right. And then the combo Teak did so much damage. Could we get a quick peep at that damage graph? But Hippo, despite having a pretty decent early game, getting some solo kills in there, I think he really struggled to have game impact later on. You look at what the Yasuo was able to do in team fights, and there's not a whole lot available to him.
No, for sure, right? With him not having a reliable knock up to engage off of, he had to set his own up, which means he needs the fights to go long. Which with Urgot and Alawi, I mean, you're kind of set up to do that, but once that casting scales in and you get a nice Seraphine out, the fights are over instantly. You don't have time to get 3 Qs off and hope to land a last breath. So.
And crucially, Teague over on the Nocturne doing quite a bit of work on the Nocturne with the Paranoia. I want to get a counter on how many times he ultimated that game. We'll see if he's able to get it next time around. We're going to take a really short break. Team Dark Horse go up 1-0 on the series against the Footlongs. We'll see you in just a second to see if the Footlongs are going to be able to bounce back.
Yeah, see you in a few, folks. Welcome back, everyone.
Yeah,
Short little break for us here. They were already getting the lobby set up, so I think we're just going to roll right into the next one.
exactly. Yeah. Once again, this is a week 6 matchup between the Footlongs and Team Dark Horse. Team Dark Horse taking that first one in a little bit of a back and forth fashion, but ultimately the team fight with the Seraphine and the Cassin just became a little bit too much. The Footlongs, despite having a fair lead in the middle game, 4.5K, I believe, weren't quite able to capitalize on it and end the game before they were able to scale.
Yeah.
Box run by Wally. Wally, kind of a back and forth game one. I wonder what kind of picks we're going to see going into game two. I think kind of an interesting draft from both teams. I wonder what's going to stay consistent, what's going to change.
Oh, for sure. My big concern right now is whether or not Footlongs is going to be able to pivot their comp. I mean, we saw what happened, at least with our game last time against them when Raymond just committed to the Urgot jungle 3 games in a row. So, and I don't even mean that as flame. It's just, I mean, we saw that they were pretty stubborn about pivoting off of it. Is more what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I think the real story is going to be if they pivot off of the Yasuo and the Alawi. I think those are the two picks that I was most unsure about. Alawi did end up getting quite a bit of value with the Soul, but it was mostly on just chunking Sword. And once Sword uses his whole kit, he's kind of just a meat shield anyways. So I'm hesitant to say that the Alawi was that useful within the context of the game. And obviously they didn't pick any setup for the Yasuo.
No, I agree with you. I think maybe if you have a AP threat coming in for the top lane there, the Alawi gets a lot more value because then the armor's not so like heavily stacked against her. But
yeah, I wonder if they end up actually banning the Seraphine too.
I kind of hope they do. But I think if they get rid of the Cassidon, that they can keep the Seraphine through. I just think one of the two needs to go. They don't necessarily need to do both.
I absolutely agree, and it looks like that they're at least going to get rid of that Nocturne Teague with just constant paranoias. I feel like, if I remember correctly, he did something like 4 paranoias pre-13 minutes. So he was just ulting and ulting and ulting. And Althena, I know for sure, did not have a good time because he was at most of those. So just get rid of that Nocturne, get rid of that global ultimate, and make sure that Althena is able to actually play the lane. Whatever big.
I mean, that's a good read on their part. It's Victor, right? So he's kind of unfortunately naturally kind of push unless he really actively tries not to. He wants to push. So really good kind of read punish on their side.
Actually, the Cassin and the Seraphine both going through once again, so they're just going to first pick that. I don't believe anything that Tail Whip and IREP really punished the Seraphine super, super hard. And especially with 12-inch, playing that kind of pseudo vertical jungle within the last game, and then spending a lot of time around the top side outside of that one counter gank, doesn't look like they're going to be looking to punish it so much.
Yeah, I think they might just be okay with handshaking the bot lane again. The most action that we had down there was just because there were 3 teleports in the game, to be totally honest. That I did not expect. I actually thought they might save Althena to later in the draft and not just pick the Victor again.
That also makes me wonder if Team Dark Horse has just got to run it back. Just sans Nocturne, right?
I think they just might. I mean, I'm not a big fan of salty runbacks, but it's a possibility for sure.
Right. Well, we'll have to wonder if, there's the Urgot coming through. So we're basically just seeing the straight run back, only instead of the Senna being picked first, they've gone for Victor Urgot. They've just kind of shifted everything up instead. So far, the team comp's looking mighty similar.
Okay. Yeah. So, interesting. I want to say that maybe they're going to have a nice shakeup in bot lane. I mean, obviously it's going to be a different jungler. So, different jungler on the enemy team. So we'll have to see what happens with that.
Yeah, this is going to be the cast again. So four picks for the same champions.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. So I mean, when we see this happen, right, it's generally just the teams thinking they made some kind of macro or micro misplay in the laning phase. So. Maybe they just talked it out and are going to make their adjustment. But if Viego comes through here...
Viego obviously not having the same kind of pressure that the Nocturne has, but with that mist is able to kind of get onto it and deal quite a bit of pressure. So definitely not something to be kind of scoffing at.
No, I agree with you on that one. He did get those nice jungle buffs here not too long ago. I don't know if Music even remotely plays Viego. There's a chance that they go, okay, they're just going to put him on a tank. They're going to put Hippo maybe on a tank this time, and they kind of handshake it. Put Viego up there. I doubt it, but especially with the set coming through.
You're like, Hippo,
But,
we love you. We love your Yasuo, but we so you're going back to set.
yeah, set's strong. I don't blame him.
I
I mean, there's
must
still a
not
lot
fall.
less room for error there, and it's, in my opinion, a lot stronger character. So it's just a good call on their part.
Yeah, and actually they've blind picked both of their solo lanes and the jungle. So actually, if you look at how the footlongs, they're definitely just drafting toward whatever they want to play, their comfort, what they think their comps work. Meanwhile, on the other side, Dark Horse has got
I don't
counterpick
need more
every single one,
enemies.
and they're able to get rid of that Senna because they've picked out that set instead of that Senna within the first rotation.
For sure. And we're gonna, unless they try to go for this kite comp style again, they're gonna need some engage here on the side of footlongs. So maybe we'll see a pivot bot lane into an Ashe or a Sivir or something, but they're gonna have some scaling issues again if they decide to go with that style of play. So maybe they just think they can win through getting a mid-game lead like they got before and not letting the game go long. So
you look at the ability of Team Dark Horse the Wombo yet again with that Encore plus the Rift Lock with the Seraphine and Cassidy ults. That was pretty disgusting last game. If they're able to get that and even just nuke one person, then it's just a Viego show. So I kind of like what they're kind of pulling together. There's a little bit low CC aside from that so far, but they can definitely get that coming from top and mid, or top and support.
no, I agree for sure. And
And there's the Shaco support.
if Viego goes the, I mean, he goes Divine Sunder now for the most part, but he's going to be just as tanky, if not tankier, than Nocturne was in the first place. So I mean, less engaged, but they're not losing. Like, they're not trading off any survivability or anything for that. It's just more of a go button.
I'm curious that they've actually saved their AD pick for last. They already see that Seraphine is out. There's the Nautilus Leona obviously being banned, but they're actually just going to blind pick every single role, it looks like. Just wanting to play what they play.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what the goal is there. Maybe there's just something they really wanted to save for this last pick, but I'm kind of confused why the Chakra comes out first there, in all seriousness.
Yeah, they're still a little bit light on that engage, but Chakra Disruption plus Set, Urgot Victor, that's a lot of CC and a lot of ability to kind of split team fights. As the Ornn comes through, lots of engage now with the last two picks, as we would predict. Team Dark Horse, drafting what they know, drafting what they're good at. As the AD pick could be a lot of things, but it can't be Senna or Ezreal.
Yeah, I want to say it's going to be a support style jungler here. You definitely don't need more damage on this team comp. And they go for
Tristana.
Okay.
I kind of like that against the Seraphine, honestly. Seraphine has to position very carefully. Tristana is able to jump onto Seraphine absolutely at will, especially if she's able to still do it behind a minion wave. So Droid's got to position very carefully in this lane.
Yeah, it gives him some nice counterplay options too against the Cassidy and even later into the game. And it gives him more agency to kind of not pull their punches bot lane this time. So honestly, I'm pretty happy with these pivots, as strange as the draft order was.
Yeah, what I really like about what Dark Horse has done is they basically just built the same thing that they did last game, right? Instead of Sion, they have Ornn. Instead of Leona, they have Nautilus. Viego and Nocturne is kind of where it's a little bit different, right? You're kind of talking a little bit of a different style of what each of those champions are doing, but everywhere else it looks very, very similar. So if Droid's able to sit back, just bounce his ultimate off of his teammates, which he should be able to do, because you're talking like kind of 4 champs that are playing at 3 different levels. Kind of Ornn kind of playing that mid-level, Nautilus and Cassidy kind of in that this very, very deep level, and Viego looking to follow up with that as well. So it's kind of a similar comp, whereas on the other side, actually, wait, I didn't realize Tails on.
Yep, I was just waiting.
Oh my goodness, wait.
So,
yeah,
yeah, exactly.
That's wow. Okay, so they do get the counter pick mid. Oh my goodness.
Interesting. Okay, so maybe that explains the thought process and the
that's so good
a
actually.
little bit more. Yeah, this is kind of putting the game in Althena's hands here.
For sure, yeah. I mean, that's so good. But my one thing is that Victor is going to be a little XP starved, which is not really what you want on the Victor, but that was a pretty 5-hit bait from the footlongs. Wow. Oh my goodness. You should have just cut me off and been like, look at that.
It's okay. We
Holy
got to kill a
cow.
couple of minutes here, so it's all good. A little bit of spice for the viewers to probably be screaming at you in chat, like "Shut up! Talk about the the change here." I like it. I agree with you. The Victor not having levels is going to be a little interesting, but in all seriousness, just because it is Nautilus, but it's Seraphine Nautilus, so he should be kind of safe to be down there by himself if Shaco does decide to roam, and if he doesn't, that's a really nasty poke slash CC lockdown lane. So
Yeah,
I mean, there's really kill pressure coming through in all three lanes here. It's just going to be a matter of kind of where 12-inch wants to put his attention and potentially solo kill outplays.
for
So
sure. I mean, they for sure win this mid jungle 2v2 versus Viego Cassidy earlier on. Urgot has a lot of damage, a lot of ability to force that fight against the Viego. Viego has a little bit of mobility to be able to get out of that, especially with the Herod Path. But pre-6 might be a little bit rough fighting for Scuttles versus Set, Urgot, and Tristana.
no, for sure. I mean, it's oddly enough, even though they kind of ran the same comp, I think it's kind of Footlong's game to lose here with this comp again. It looks better if the game goes late for them this game than it did last game, in my opinion, but it's still going to be rough if it goes late. So if they can get a lead like they did last time and not give it away with either bad priority on objectives or just taking some poor like engages like they did with that the inhibitor and things like that, I think they're in a good spot.
That's the crucial thing, right? Like 12-inch got caught a lot in the mid game, and that's kind of what really stalled out a lot of what they were doing. Versus, you talk about some of the laning and earlier game power that is now coming out from the rest of his team. If he's able to kind of temper some of those deaths as well as force with this more aggressive mid lane and top lane, I don't know, kind of that existing gold lead that we saw from the last game, if they're able to kind of play toward that again, it might be a little bit rough for this cast to end up scaling.
No, I agree. I think if this Tristana or the set get off the ground, they're going to really have a hard time dealing with it. So we always do kind of have that nice trump card where, oh, you're super fed and I'm Viego, so now I'm super fed. So we just got to watch out for that, I
think. For sure. I think the really curious thing is that how these team fights are going to play out. Like we can talk about lanes, we can talk about what's going to happen in the early game. And I'm really curious about the early game, don't get me wrong, especially with the jungle paths, with what they were last game. But with when it starts team fighting, it's going to be which team fights better. It's which team is able to utilize their comp better. And Team Dark Horse do have a great execution, and it's very similar to what they were doing last game.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's a little bit more room for outplay just with how unreliable some of the alts are compared to, like, say, the Scion alt and the Nocturne alt, but it's still essentially the same comp on paper. So
I actually really like what Orin ult does this game. I mean, you look
at
me
too. I mean, it's more range, so that's nice. And then you have the Orin passive too, right? So you kind of are doubling down on that scaling threat potential.
And I also think that Footlongs have a lot of kind of straight line plays, right? Hippogriff obviously going to be looking to flank, and IREP is going to be kind of in the back line, but Tailp and Althena might be playing kind of in a line with 12-inch as well. So if Orin's able to get a nice ultimate over onto those three, the game might just be pretty good for them.
No, I definitely agree. We know that IREP likes to go the AP style Shaco too, so he's not going to be looking for any like backline cheeses or anything, or like assassinations on the droid or anything along those lines. So it'll be pretty standard front to back once they do decide to team fight.
Right. IREP doing the standard Shaco leash for his jungler, making sure that 12-inch comes out of this clear very, very quickly and very, very healthy. Althena walking into the mid lane against this Kassadin has the Doran's Blade. Cloth Armor start 4 pots for the Kassadin.
Okay, yeah, so I mean, he sees the threat here coming out of Tristana here, so that's it, and I respect him for respecting it. Looks like we're going to have some mirrored starts going on.
12-inch took like 1 auto from the blue buff. What a leash. That's just crazy to me. And there's the Gromp as well. He's going to be so healthy coming out of this, especially with the Gromp healing coming through. That's blocking a few autos there.
Yeah, wow. So, yeah, I mean, I'd say that Urgot probably outclears Viego regardless. So, with that kind of extra little boost that he just got, he's going to be, I'd say, probably a camp and a half ahead of Viego here. So, good luck for some early game pressure.
Right, and Viego just moving to his second camp as Urgot moves over onto his third. What a difference in the clear we're seeing so far. Oh, excuse me, no, not his second camp, his third camp, as Urgot is finishing his third, excuse me. As IREP here on the Shakeout here in the bottom lane with the Victor. Victor just looking to be stacking up, getting his stacks. Both these lanes, like you said, might just be another handshake.
Yeah, I think once some levels come through here, we'll see a little more aggression out of the side of Footlong's squad here. But for right now, they're happy to just kind of wait until either you can get some augment upgrades or just all your spells through at a bare minimum.
Yeah, Droid actually with that Guardian and the Aftershock, we're seeing a lot of green tree from the Dark Horse team. Meanwhile, Conquer from the Viego. Whereas on the other side, we're seeing that Hail of Blades kind of come into play for the Althea already.
Yeah, I mean, awesome aggro kind of keystones coming through here. You got the Phase Rush and the Comet, too, for some nice poke. Conversely, on the other side, we aren't going to have an Ocean Soul this time, so maybe that'll help out with these Dragon Flights. Ocean's going to be our first drag coming through, and there's already a lot of healing on this side. Dark
Actually,
Horses.
that little bit of slow coming from the cast and forcing a tower shot over onto Lana, but it's still kind of a very difficult situation for Lin here. Forced to blow 3 of his pots already, and he's already about a third HP even on the backside of that anyways.
Yeah, I mean, he's...
Ooh, Althena's going for the all-in, but meanwhile bot lane we're seeing a gank as the disengage from the Shaco actually comes through. Althena almost gets the kill over onto Lin. Flashes in, but doesn't have Ignite. He instead has that TP, so he isn't able to secure it.
I saw him get stuck on that minion. I was so concerned.
Wow. Across the map in the span of about 30 seconds, we saw 6 flashes get used. We saw flash in the top lane too from Music X, Teague, Lind, Sword, Tail Whip, and Althena. All flashing there.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's going pretty aggro here. We've already got a back coming through for Music, so that'll probably be an early TP coming through. Kind of a nice dichotomy we've got with a ranged versus melee matchup mid for them, and then a resourceless champion versus a melee champion. So they have a nice way to kind of just be able to force them to stay in lane or make them.
I'm actually really curious that Althena took the TP here. I think Ignite there kills the cast and puts him even further behind. Although Teak is now here to support his laner. Teak's saving that W is might be able to get the stun over on Althena, but Althena sidesteps it a little bit, but takes a lot of bit of damage. As there's the Herald Path coming through, getting in that attack speed and move speed over onto him, and Althena's just TP's in and is now chunked.
Yeah, that was a really good read on Teak's part, because it's, I mean, that basically just wasted the TP that came through. That's going to give Caston a lot of breathing room to kind of get his way to his 6 here.
One thing I'm curious about is if they noticed that this was Tristana mid earlier enough, if Lin was able to get his armor runes up, or if they didn't realize it was Tristana mid until they had already gotten into game. Because this is obviously double AP bot, so that would mean you would a MR onto Droid and Swordmaster instead of the armor, and instead it's armor mid, so I wonder how it messed with the rooms, if it did at all.
Yeah, that is a good question. Just being casted in, I would almost maybe think with the triple AP threat, he gear on the side of caution and go armor anyway, and just kind of let his passive hopefully carry his MR, but...
Sure.
There's a lot of mixed damage coming in from Tristana regardless, so it's going to be pretty rough.
Yeah, and they're doing just fine. Obviously, Teague playing a lot toward Lin here in the middle lane and making sure that he doesn't die, but who knows, maybe that Ignite would have made all the difference in the entire world. But Althena's still looking pretty good on the Tristana, able to get the push in, as 12-inch is still farming up a Storm up about 2 camps, as there is the Ornn ultimate coming through, going over on the Hippo, gets the Brittle proc, and it is a very nice trade up here in the top lane, 6-5, and it's actually still Hippo getting the better of that. Hippo finally hitting 6, might look for the ultimate on the backside.
No, for sure. And I mean, it's set, right? So any trade that he doesn't drop dead in can potentially be a good trade for him.
Ooh, the flash coming through, gets the stun over onto Music X, might just get the solo kill here, no flash available, and that's first blood for Hypocrite.
Yep, that's exactly what I was trying to talk about. He's just got all that free health regen. He's not really concerned about an Ornn that doesn't have a huge health lead on it. So we will see the, in conjunction with it, we will see the Dragon Pressure coming through. And Tristana pushing for Blizz mid. So potentially some unfortunate back timers on the side of Dark Horses. They kind of didn't stagger them, unfortunately, so they lost a lot of that.
Right, excellent first 7 minutes for the Footlongs, getting a kill and about a 1.3k gold, 1.5k now with that plate going down. Gold lead for their laners looking quite good across the board, and also a nice CS lead in the jungle as well. There's that early pressure for you.
For sure. Yeah, I definitely think they realize that they're kind of their way into this is play a little more aggro. So I like to see that. Like you mentioned with the Ignite versus the TP, I think maybe they were just worried about the fact that they were down a TP last game and they got in a lot of sticky situations.
Ooh, as Teague is down, ganking toward bottom lane, as Ira places the trap, is able to get back out. Tailwhip does get hooked back. He does not have flash available. There's the double root coming through, and they are just going to be able to one-shot Tailwhip as the first kill coming through for the Dark Horses goes over to Teague.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the power of that CC there, right? I mean, there was so much stuff to just keep them locked in the gravity field, but you're not getting out of that.
Yeah. I think that's a very nice move from Teague, kind of salvaging a little bit from that game. One thing I wanted to point out is I think Lin's doing a great job here playing against the Tristana actually up in CS. One of the things I've noticed he's doing is he's just waiting until he has the Force Pulse available to him, walks forward, Tristana places the explosive charge on him, but he's just Force Pulses, prevents Tristana from getting any more autos onto him and just walks away.
Mm-hmm. We're going to notice here, too, if you look, I actually don't know the name of the item off the top of my head, but he's got the armor item coming through first there. He might just be rushing the Frozen Heart.
Yeah, the Warden's Mail coming through.
Warden's Mail, thank you. All I could think of was the name of the passive, or whatever. But,
yeah, that's going to do a lot of value against.
If he's able to kind of go straight into that and then pick up some AP active effect, it actually might be pretty strong for him. I mean, he's getting free
brutal proc from his W as well. Hippogriff popping his own W. Doesn't look like they're going to be looking for anything, as I'm going to eat my words because they're going to get it. Actually, Hippo popping his own ultimate on the side, but Music X just hits him into the wall. Now Teague popping that Ferocious Bite actually misses it a little bit up, but they're still able to secure the kill over onto the set. Another kill for the Viego.
Yeah, I mean, that was nice. Music played his mana really well there. I was actually impressed that he got that knockup at the back end of that. I don't know that Hippo makes it out of that blowing that W early, whether or not he makes it out of that if he didn't blow that W early, but they kind of had him dead to rights there. So it's just kind of a good read.
Yeah, I think... I mean, the difficulty of that is the Ornn ult forces the engage from the side. He tries to dodge it out with his own ultimate, but it's yeah, like you said, it's kind of just doomed from then on out. Another thing is actually Tristana is getting quite a bit of play cooldown here in the middle lane, but I'm just not sure if Lin ever dies again.
Yeah, I don't think he will, personally, unless it's off of a team play. But Tristana being the character that she is, I mean, she doesn't have to go for those kills. She can do what she's doing right now and just get pressure on the map. And even roam out if she needs to. Having that extra ranged pressure on the
Teague is still up here in the top lane. Hippogriff just walking forward, not respecting the fact that he is still here and is able to just channel that Spectral Ball, chain the stun together. But the Showstopper comes through and it's a lot of damage. Very, very nice. At the same time, he's able to pop the ult and to get another kill. Hippo walks up toward the top side and just dies yet again. And he's going a big wave off of this.
Oh, now that is unfortunate. Teague doesn't have that ult there. I think there's actually a chance that Hippo walks out with a kill there. But good read on that.
It's actually bottom lane. We're seeing a 2v2 kill go over onto Tailwhip. Droid and Swordmaster doing it. Looking very good. That's 2 kills for Tailwhip as actually the hook comes through, lands onto a minion, but Irep is a little bit low on mana. He's not going to be able to do anything on his own as we see Footlong's actually pressuring mid on the backside of that.
Okay, yeah, and we're going to have the Herald picked up here too for the side of Dark Horses. So 11 minutes in, there's still plates on the map. Unfortunately, not going to be able to get a lot out of it. I think there's 5 plates on every tower.
Oh, there's the Nautilus roam over onto the mid lane, and actually Althena might be in a little bit of trouble here, forced to flash back out. Lone the Legend popping a lot of damage there, and we see that Frozen Heart have a lot of value. Maybe if he had a little bit of damage, might have been able to kill him, but he's doing just fine on the passive.
Really nice
out here in the middle lane. Actually takes the hook from Swordmaster, but Swordmaster might be a little bit tippy here, especially with 12-inch now roaming here as well, but he might just be dead even with the flash. Wow. A little bit of a class and a little bit deep from the support of the Dark Horses.
Okay, yeah, so I mean, that just looks like a little bit of a miscommunication there to me. I think the only reason that is terrible is if they get more off this mid tower, but we do have the TP coming through, so it should be fine.
Wow, full Kraken Slayer. Actually goes for the Kraken Slayer instead of the Sunder on the Viego. So he's doing so much damage, though. Okay,
yeah, I mean, he does have some pretty nice tanks he needs to shoot to run the enemy team, so I understand that thought process. He's just going to have to be careful about when he can hit the buttons.
Yeah, I mean, despite being down 20 CS, he has the game's first Mythic. I mean, if you're I mean, discounting the Frozen Heart, that's not a mythic, so my statement
Yeah.
still holds true. The Dragon goes through for the Footlongs, actually a very nice early pickup of the Ocean and the Infernal, as actually Hippo lands that full Haymaker over on Music X. Music X taking a lot of damage, flashing back forward, gets a Showstopper, forcing him to return flash from the enemy top laner. He gets a very nice little play from Hippo, but I'm not sure it's quite worth it for him, because Cassidy is on the roam up here into the top lane. Hippogriff definitely with no wards available to him, not respecting the fact that Cassidy is here. Music X just looking for the big bait, pulls the Showstopper back toward him. Excuse me, that's not the show, but that's the face breaker. As the TB comes through, that looks like it's going to be Tail Whip on the Victor, and they're going to force this wave into the tower. But meanwhile, bot lane, it's actually Rift Herald, so Tail Whip actually TPing away from this. Now, T flashing forward. What? Goes over onto the clone, actually gets feared up, and he just dies. There's the Encore coming through, but now this might just be a bad play for them. They don't have any damage left over. Now Diego has just suicided himself. Now Athena and Irep are both here, and Hilovich actually back forward with the ultimate. Irep might actually be giving his own life, gets the fear over onto him. Irep, oh, actually does die to the Ignite. Now Droid 1v2 here actually doesn't end up being the worst situation, because Irep is able to trade his life for swords. But wow, Viego, I'm not sure what happened there.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like maybe just overjudging some shields coming through, or potential burst combos. But I mean, you have a lot of ancillary damage and survivability with just the reposition tools and the shields coming through from Victor. And
yeah, I didn't quite see the details of that. I think he believed he had Irep low, flashed onto the clone, killed the clone, and just got feared and died. I believe that's
okay,
right.
yeah, that was the other thing I was gonna say.
Yeah, that was
so, that happens to the best
definitely
of us,
an unfortunate mistake. Gives over a big shutdown. Didn't quite see who got it. I believe it was Althena. Is either Althena or 12-inch. Either way, not the worst thing for you.
I should be Althena, because I think that was his first kill. So, yeah, some kind of interesting little skirmishes going on across the map. It's not too dissimilar to last game. As we roll into 14 minutes here, though, we have even gold still, so
yeah,
more or less. Notably, that 2-dragon lead, though, at 14 minutes. That's pretty strong. So if they can keep rolling those dragons over with the Mountain Drake, I think they're going to be hard-pressed to...
Yeah, team playing the long card down here. He is still bottom lane. Might still be looking for it as well. Wow. As middle lane, CS numbers are looking really good for the Cassidy. Tail now moved toward there, as Viego might be looking for the roam, excuse me, looking for the gank timing. Irep with his clone now available as well. Actually takes the depth charge with the clone. They realize now that that is not the right person. Has a bunch of traps set up there, but very nice double high note from the Droid, able to clear out those traps instantly, as we're seeing just trading across the entire map, because Tail Whip and 12-inch are here in the middle lane. Living Legend, not sure they have any pressure to kill, but Urgot just chews through this tower, and there's going to be first tower.
Okay, yeah. I gotta say, I'm kind of surprised it took this long for first tower to go down with the characters that they have on their team, but it's gonna get them a nice little gold lead here to roll into the next rig coming up in 2 minutes. So.
I actually really like that they've done this lane swap. I almost wish they had done it earlier, swapping Tail Whip and Althena around, but I mean, they're going to be looking for this contest actually on their own blue buff. 12-inch looking really deep there. Doesn't have any of his laners there to support him, as they're able to get another kill for Viego.
Ah, man, that's unfortunate. Probably just a...
Ooh, they're going to be able to go over onto Althena, though, and I'll be able to see CC chain really well. Althena actually jumping in. Just gives his life.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we're kind of seeing... Oh, no, it's just... Okay. I was going to see if something cheeky was about to happen, but it's just Tail Whip coming back. We're seeing the power that CC lockdown from the Nautilus and the Seraphine there still, so...
Yeah. I think Droid and Sword have really good synergy. You see that the way that they CC chain down here in the bottom lane between their two champions looks really clean.
Yeah, no, for sure, right? And I mean, you've got Nautilus, who has the most CC in the game, compared with the Seraphine that's got some pretty easy to hit CC. It's just,
yeah. I mean, at the same time, timing your encore is definitely not the easiest thing. It's not like the fastest traveling thing, so you have to have a little bit of foresight to use it.
I mean, more along the lines of. I mean, more along the lines of having a support that has so much CC to kind of set up for it and make sure you can't miss it. But yeah, no, I mean, we definitely have seen plenty of Seraphine ghosts in all of our solo queue games, so it's definitely not the easiest thing.
for sure, as here they're looking for the dragon setup. Hypnotic blocking forward does have that huge movement speed. Swordmaster missing with a slight bit. Now the tail actually going over the wall with the blast cone. Now here is Swordmaster and the Ornn as well. Droid forced the flashback out away from that. They're in kind of a little bit of an awkward position as they're able to get a little bit of Moonstone healing, and they're looking pretty good, just down a few summoners.
Yeah, I mean, major ults coming through just now, so assuming...
Might be in a little bit of compromised position, but the rest of his team is here as well. They might have just forced them into a really bad choke. Now they're looking for the big flank. There's the Victor W coming through, but IREP and, instead is already dead. Now Teague inside the Victor W might be looking a little bit rough. Lin looking a little bit low. Althena already has jumped in, though. He might have just given his life looking for the kill. They haven't been able to kill anyone for the reset. The double kill for the Tristan is able to save his life with triumph. Actually, this fight is just on a razor's edge. Tail flash before you get the shut down overall the Nautilus. Wow, that was just so close to being really, really good for the Dark Force, but it ultimately ends up in a 3-for-1 for the Footlongs. Wow.
Yeah, I think 12-inch made that a lot harder than it needed to be, kind of putting himself out of position there, but the AoE team fight coming through for them, and just maybe a little bit of luck for Althena being able to squeak out there. So
yeah,
that's a third Drake coming through in 18 minutes. I mean, we're seeing that Mountain Drake WinCon right on track to come through here at 23 minutes. They're in a rough spot right now on Dark Horse.
Yeah, that Victor Gravity Field, his W, did so much work there. It kind of zoned off the entire river portion of that, so you can just put it next to the bush. They can't move into the bush because they don't have vision of it. They can't move through the little river area. They have to move through this tiny little choke. It zones so many people out there, able to insta-burst down the Viego in the middle of that. Viego needs to play on the backside and wait for his resets, as we're seeing another train on the top line. Oh, as the fourth god is coming here as he's setting up for Teague as well. Hippogriff still has the showstopper available to him, but there's the unstoppable from, as well as the brittle proc, and he might have just gotten the solo kills. Actually, Teague is able to get the kill as Swordmaster is yet again on another cross map rope.
Okay. Should potentially be a mid tower pickup. Oh no, never mind. Sip just hits insanely clear. Okay.
Yep, there you go. Looks like he's going through that putrefier yet again.
Yeah, I definitely not a bad call, I don't think.
Oh no, double Leandries, this is what I was worried about. I wanted to call that out when I saw that they both had lost chapter. I was like, please, I hope one of them is getting a Ludens, but no, it's double Leandries.
Interesting, okay. So I've seen IRF usually, he likes to go the Moonstone Renewer a lot on the Shaco, so I just kind of assumed that's where he was going this game, but he decided to go
I saw the lost chapter, I was like, I hope and pray they're not doing it. And there it is.
Interesting. I mean, I think the Victor could have gotten away with Ludens.
I think he could have gotten Ludens, he could have gotten Everfrost like Althena did. Actually, I don't think he could have gotten Everfrost. I think Everfrost is bad. But
this Viego building career damage here, there's a lot of bursty threats on their team. So there's really, I don't know that you need the pen and the HP burn together.
12-inch might have a little bit of flank over on Teague, but last is available. He's able to get out with it. Althena walking forward. He is very strong, actually. 1.5 items, has a Kraken, plus he's building toward that PD. He might just have to be the carry threat this game.
For sure. And I mean, he's going to scale into it even harder, right? And eventually he's going to actually get to the point where he outranges the Kassadin, so Kassadin's ability to just go straight in is going to be a lot harder. And with Teague not being able to take a lot of damage here, with the build he's going for, they're gonna have to get creative on that.
Ooh, Althena jumping over onto Swordmaster. Swordmaster does have hook available to him, is able to get out with that. That full explosive charge going through, not getting the reset yet, just quite. Hippogriff walking forward with that, all that move speed available to him, but Teague might be looking for something as well. As we see 12-inch popping his W over onto the Urgot, doing a nice little chunk of damage, but IREP around the side, as well as Lin. Lin already level 13, but so is 12-inch. Althena might be looking for something here.
I think he's just going to sneak the blue buff away and maybe go top, but...
Yeah, looking good.
Okay.
Yeah. Althena with that Frozen Heart Rush is just looking to continue to scale. Already level 13, soaking up whatever farm that he can. Looking for that level 16 power spike. Apparently going to get level 16 and his mythic at the same time. I didn't realize that was a timing, but kind of crazy.
Whatever. We like it. Big power spikes all around. We have an interesting kind of decision point that we're coming through though. Teague is still, I mean, he's coming, it looks like Collector coming through next. they're gonna have to start figuring out how they want to win these team fights with the squishy secondary carry coming through. They're definitely not gonna be able to just death ball like they did last game, I don't think. So
yeah, we saw what happened that last fight. They tried to fight Deathball into that comp. They just got the gravity field from the Victor, and they just got kind of poked down and just CC'd down. Like you said, I have to wonder if they're just thinking, okay, we have the late game. Like unironically, we have the late game. We scale super hard with this Orin, with this Cassidin, with the Seraphine. Maybe we just play for that.
The thing is with this game, right? They're definitely. I mean, the gold is closer this game, but the position that Footlongs are in is way stronger than last game with these dragons.
Now also going over on the 12 inch, but the rest of his team is here to support him. Nautilus already popping his ultimate with that depth charge. Aren't able to make anything happen there. Tristana's still up there in the top lane. Does have TP though, as now yet another hook comes through, but the box is there in the top lane as we're not seeing what's going on because there's a top lane turret being taken. They might just have a little bit of an inside track on this dragon, but Tristan now TP back in. Yet another hook going over on the 12 inch. Now they're fighting into this gravity field yet again. They're totally split on this fight around the side of it. They're not going to be able to get any sort of kills. This 12 inch list is 1 HP. It kills off the Cassidin. Now the fight is just absolutely over. Lucy actually looking to get soloed up by Althena. Now Droid getting soloed up by the support on the other team. But they are just 3 people on 3 opposite ends of the map. Droid's just walking into a pink ward. He's going to get absolutely run down by this Shaco. Droid, you have to fight back. You have to fight back. At least make it some sort of difficulty here, buddy. You can do it. I believe in you. No! There's the 402 damage dagger coming through. And that is a bad fight. 12 inch living with 1 HP.
Oh, man.
I wonder if we're going to go to game 3. I don't want to call it just yet.
I mean, that's tough.
Bad.
I'd lay my money on it personally. I've got to point out though, they decided to make the solo ult call.
Oh, using X going at 1v4, using the unstoppable, he's looking pretty good. 12 inch getting does he live again with 1 HP? No, he doesn't. This time around, Team is able to get the kill. It actually flips over onto the other side. Now, as they might have stayed a little bit too long, kill is dead. As they are just falling one by one. Hippogriff looking a little bit low. Get flashes just for fun. Why not? Because the Viego kill goes over on the Viego kill? Did I say that? The triple kill goes onto the Viego, and now they're going to be looking for the Baron.
Okay, yeah. So that's bad. If they're able to stall out with this Baron
I certainly
here,
called it too early.
Yeah, no, me too.
Oh, no, it's
so
a 2
they're
gold difference now.
Baron,
And they have Cassidin, as actually IREP is still looking to be very disrupted. Droid is just thinking that IREP is an absolute thorn in his side. He's going to walk the clone into this Baron pit now. It might just die to Baron, actually.
That's going to do damage.
And this is going to be so annoying, actually. IREP doing a great job now fearing them, and now there's the death charge as well, as Teague is able to ultimate over onto him, as there's the TP just to secure the Baron. Baron getting a little bit low. Ends up being all for naught. Kind of a waste of TP, but that's okay. Definitely for sure secures the Baron. And the goal difference is now in favor of the Dark Horses.
Man. So, I mean, that's just kind of trying to have your cake and eat it too there with that nice dragon build that they went for. And then just pushed a little too hard, unfortunately. With this Baron buff and the middle inhibitor down, that's going to just be some nice gold income for them at this point. So that's going to backfire, more than likely, unfortunately.
That first Ornn upgrade as well, going over onto the Viego. 3 items with Serpent's Fang, double lethality with the Merc Treads. He is so strong. They really have to be very, very cognizant of wherever this Viego is on the map, especially now that they're down in gold.
Yeah,
Walking forward, making a little bit of a vision play. The Facebreaker misses over onto Sword as they're fighting into a little bit of a choke here. Might be able to use the Encore, get a nice little play if they decide that they just want to disengage. Instead, the Everfrost now being built up onto the Cassidin. He is definitely looking to scale. Actually, level 15, looking pretty strong. As they are actually still kind of on the back foot on the pressure play, even with this Baron. As Teague is getting a little bit poked up by 12 inch here. IREP dashing forward with his Shaco, popping box after box after box. Althena, actually only level 13, down quite a bit of experience within the context of this game. As the Everfrost goes over, moves onto this death charge, and the College of the Forge got an encore. So many ultimates all at the same time, and it's just an absolute wipe. Oh no, but Cassidin actually ends up dying to Althena, as it might actually just be a bad play. No, Teague is still like, he's getting the double, he's just gonna be killing absolutely everyone. Triple kill. He's gonna be killing for the quad as well. The short hop forward over at IREP. IREP is definitely gonna be dead, and there is the quadra kill. No, it's a double kill for the Nautilus. As we go straight into a pause. Wow, what a crazy explosive fight. Every single ultimate coming down from Team Dark Horse secures the ace as T just goes absolute.
Honestly, that all just started off of the Everfrost from gas. That was humongous. I mean, props to Footlongs for thinking they could tango there, but they were into Baron Dominions with all that hard follow-up, and they kind of paid the price for it.
Yeah, my goodness. I don't think I realized how many like line CC things they have. Like I mean, like
Mm-hmm.
you said, they have the Everfrost coming through. They have the hook. They have the Death Charge. They have the Seraphine ultimate. They have the Orin ultimate. They just have so many ways of like CCing people in a straight line, and it all came to a head there, and it was just pretty insane. And it almost the crazy thing is that almost wasn't enough. Like Cassidy kind of died at the very start of that.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's tough. It's um, an interesting spot they're in now. The person that has TP that could have potentially punished with that top wave is dead. So even with that wipe coming through, I'm not exactly sure how much they're actually going to get for it.
Yeah.
It's only about 30-second timers, so maybe a tower
Mm-hmm.
before they're all back on the field.
We're getting some info on this pause. It looks like there's some sort of hardware failure from the side of, I believe, the Footlongs. They're looking to restart the game, get back into it. Hopefully that won't take too long. Hopefully everything's okay on their end. And wow, that was a really fun team fight to watch, Wally.
No, I mean, yeah, the best word I could use is explosive, right? I mean, it was just like a light switch getting flipped on. Uh, Nuts. I mean, this Viego's coming into the game like a sledgehammer.
Yes,
He was
12 kills.
basically a non-factor, and then after two team fights, walks out 9-2, and he's
I mean, he
a
has
monster
almost
now.
twice as many kills as the rest of his team combined.
Yeah, no, I
He
mean,
has
he's
12 of 19 kills. This is
yeah.
insane.
They if they are actively trying to make sure they funnel kills to him, they're doing a fantastic job of it. So it's just
Yeah, it's really nuts. I want to say one of the crazier things about this comp is that like if he just is able to kill one person,
mhm.
Viego just takes over the fight. We saw Cassie get locked down once again in the gravity field, just get absolutely blown up, and it doesn't matter because it's just reset city for the Viego. And actually,
Yeah, right.
sorry, yeah, the ward item. We haven't seen this really a whole lot, but the ward item coming out from Shaco. I wanted to bring that up before I
Oh yeah.
forgot again.
Okay. Yeah. No, that is nice to see. I mean, that gives you. I don't remember exactly the stats it gives you now, but it gives you a lot of ability haste, and that means more boxes for Shako and more clones. So that's
For sure.
actually not a bad shakedown. He's managed to get off some pretty cheeky clones in some of these fights. Actually, that last major dragon fight that they had, when they decided to go for the solo ult onto um, Urgot, he managed to actually get his clone and have it detonate in the middle of I think 4 or 5 people and fear all of
Yeah,
them.
pretty value.
So like that's double Landry's or not, he kind of knows what he needs to do to make that pick do what it wants to do.
Yeah, I just have to wonder. I wonder if Tail is just wishing that he had Ludens instead. You get that extra magic pen, deal just so much more damage, honestly.
Yeah, and especially with this Viego, I mean,
Right,
being as squishy as he is right now, it could have made a difference in a couple fights. So
exactly. And we haven't really talked about 12 inch at all. Going the exact same build as last time. Now has the Bammy Sitter. Doesn't quite have his mythic built up yet. And Tristana does have that tank killer LDR PD, quite strong actually. Definitely nothing to be just kind of like saying that she's not. She's 3 items. She's can't killing. She has good attack speed. This is definitely a Tristana power spike. They just need to be concerned about dealing with this Viego, right? They have to make sure they have eyes on this Viego at all times.
no, for sure. I mean, whether it's a matter of playing a proper front to back just so that they don't get locked into these CC chains that Viego can take advantage of, or splitting the team up so that they can't do that death ball kind of CC chain. It's kind of on them how they want to deal with it at this point.
Right. I think an interesting thing is Music down a little bit of CS, but he's been in 12 kills out of the 19. He's built basically just straight armor. He's not worried about this Victor Shaco at all. Has the Thorn Mail, has the Plated Steel Greaves, and has the Warden's Mail on top of that. The only MR he's getting is from runes and from, well, if he has any runes that give MR, is either from runes or from his Sunfire. So kind of a difficult one here.
Yeah, I mean, he's mainly just been engaged at this point, and the people that he's going to end up engaging into to hit the backline are these armor or these AD threats. So it's I understand the judgment call there. If he gets a good ult off in a fight, his job's pretty much done. So
true. And
I'd say
we've certainly this combo, this wombo is disgusting. I don't think we really appreciated that beforehand, but their ability to wombo with everything. I mean, we talked a little bit about how they're going to play team fights, but this wombo, as we do get back into the game, thank goodness, is looking pretty darn good.
No, I agree. I mean, it's as flashy as some of those champions are on that team. It's honestly, oh, looks like we have.
I think there's like a client spectator bug. We've seen this happen a few times with people. That's just League of Legends. That's just gaming, you know.
Yeah, whatever. It's all right. I'm sure it's just got to catch up after that long pause. So.
Because it didn't have long enough to catch up.
No, definitely not. I had to wake back up. So Baron should be just about running out here.
They don't really get anything off of it. I mean, they get an ace. I'm not gonna say they didn't get anything, but they were kind of under pressure that entire time. So really not the worst whole situation. They go down to back basically another 1k gold, something like that, maybe a little bit 1k and change as a result of losing the ace, but not the worst situation overall for the Footlongs. Definitely, as we start to kind of crest the 50k gold mark, definitely can still be anyone's game.
No, for sure. I mean, it's oddly enough, even with 4 Drakes, it's a lot closer to this game, I think, than it was last game, personally. Just because of kind of where the gold is spent on the side of Team Dark Horses. So,
right.
As we kind of dance waiting for this, the fan favorite, the Elder Dragon coin flip.
I mean, that is the most powerful objective in the game, right? The flip side of it is you got to wait for 4 dragons until you get there. So, Cassidy's still level 15. I'm sure he wants to be level 16 for this. Might actually be pretty darn close to getting it on this next wave, but crucially, the vision. My goodness, look at the vision for the Footlongs. It's looking pretty darn good around the map. Shaco traps, pink wards, actual wards, just absolutely everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, that's nice to see. Just something I wanted to note quick. I just noticed it off of the items looking at the vision scores. We still have the Cassin sitting on the tier. So that's a lot of scaling he still has ready to come through. And he's, I mean, at this point in the game, he's still probably a little scary. So that's a little terrifying in my eyes.
Ooh, Iris kind of in behind enemy lines here. It finally walks forward, pops over the wall with the trap, fearing up music X, and they're going to have complete vision control over this area. Wow, just an absolute line being drawn up. They're going to have a hard time walking toward this pit, but they are able to walk into the one blind spot that is there through this tri-bush.
Yeah, we do have Music and Teague kind of pushing through here. Teague does have the GA now, so I think he's probably feels pretty safe to kind of play a little aggro now.
Yep, there's the Elder spawn coming through as well. Might as well just walk through the trap. Nope, they're just going to kill it up with Droid as well. The Herod Path making a nice little heart shape because we all love the Elder Dragon. Trap being dropped down. Does it trigger? Oh, guys, yes, it does not. But Hippogriff now walking forward with all that move speed available to him. 12-inch following up very, very quickly. Teague now here alongside IREP. Teague only about 3 levels. I'd say only that's quite a bit. Actually, now the flash forward showstopper over onto the backline with the base breaker coming through. Lands onto 4 people, but there's no follow-up just quite yet. Alhani gets knocked up as Hippogriff is getting quite low. There's the W damage coming through. One chapping Teague quite low. Alhani looking very, very low. Little Edge is just running rampant on the back end of this. There is actually the fear coming through from Tobish. He's doing so much damage as well, but the resurrection coming through from Teague, and it might still be a bad fight because now he's going to get healed up. He is now set the flashback from Lin, getting the double kill over onto 12-inch, and it's definitely a bad fight absolutely right now. The Mountain Soul isn't going to be enough to save you versus Teague. Wow, the ball coming forward with the auto is able to get the kill. Now they are onto the Elder Drake. The lone survivor is this Shaco. Is he going to be enough?
I mean, maybe he picks off Lin here if he gets lucky, but I don't know. Pretty ballsy.
He's been pretty annoying.
Yeah, he is. I mean, he might pick up a kill here, but
I don't even think he gets a kill, honestly. Yeah, he's just going forward as it looks like the clone's going to be dead. He does have the Mountain Soul available, so they know absolutely which one it is. The Elder Execute going over onto the ship.
Look at that
He's taking
damage!
a lot of damage, actually. Wow, he's going to be able to just get...
Oh my god.
Oh, IREP, you thought you were being cheeky, but the only cheeks that were getting clapped were yours. My goodness.
Wow. Okay. So the biggest thing I want to point out about that fight, I liked what they were going for there, but if you watch the back end of that, Tailwhip was like not even anywhere near his team when they engaged on that. And I think that's mainly the thing that lost them that. That gave Cass time.
The Legend Effort Cross over onto Hippogriff. Why are you there? What the heck is the point of being there? As Altina's going to pay his life for that as well. Now they're going to TP in and they're going to all die. Call the Force Dust comes through. Tailwhip is going to die on the backside of this. And the game is now just going to be over as the Gravity Field comes through. The Elder Soul executes him as I thought they could have held for a little bit longer as the game might just be over now. Television does a good job buffering that hook, but what?
I don't know. They just kind of lost their lines a little bit just now. I don't really know what to say outside of that. Maybe just kind of checked out at this point after that last 15 fight. I certainly would understand that.
Yeah, as IREP goes in, tries to be a little cheeky once again, just gives up his life. 12-inch a little bit tanky, he's able to survive a little bit longer against Lin, but...
Yeah, we do have 10 seconds on 2 more members here, so...
I don't know, dude. They just keep walking in one by one and dying over and over again. I think the game's just over here.
I think so too, but
yeah,
I like to see
through going over to 12-inch. They're just CCing about making sure that they're able to get the tower on the backside. They still have Elder Buff available to mount, and of course the jump back out. Actually able to secure the last little kill. Hippogriff's pretty tanky. Gets a nice little bit of haymaker damage. This Limbo Legend is looking pretty low. Actually, is this a little bit of a defense? It might actually have to counter throw. The 1,000-goal shutdown going over onto the Urgon, and it's a triple kill. What the heck just happened? Is the game over? And the other side now there's the TP. What is going on?
Oh my god.
Are you kidding me? What just happened? Are they going to take this up and now counter end the game? The death timers I don't think are going to be long enough, but what the heck was that throw? I don't think they did. I don't think they can do this.
Food, maybe?
I don't think they can do this yet. Wait, what? Hippo? Hippo? What?
Okay.
I have no words for what's going on. The last 3 minutes has just made absolutely no sense to me. Hippo, just walk away. You have your team coming, but they look like they still might be able to end the game now. 7 seconds on the death timers. There's no, they have to end here. If they don't end, the Nexus turrets are going to get it. They do get the kill over onto. Oh my goodness, there's so much damage. Are they going to be able to do it? The Nexus is getting very, very low. Are we going to be able to go to a game 3?
They've got it.
Iro's going to have to end the game on his own. He's going to try to end the next turn. He's level 1 HP. Not like to be able to run down. There's no Nexus turns available. As they try to counter end the game, they take it to a game 3. Using XTPs in, but fortunately, did Hippo just big brain this? He died. He insta-killed himself early, and so he would be alive for the defense. Crucially, let's just completely ignore the fact that if he had been there in the initial part of it, they would have ended the game. But is Hippo going to be able to 1v2 survive the rest of this? He does have support in about 15 seconds from the rest of the game. Hippo pops his showstopper over onto the ultimate. He's not going to be able to do anything here as Limbo Legend plus Musex and now Teak here are going to be able to end the game. It's over.
Wow. I'm like pretty much speechless. That was regardless of what just happened there, I hope both the teams had fun doing that because that was insane. Okay.
So
what do you got for me, Droid? I know you're just about as like you're man, wow.
So okay. So Teak has 19 kills. That's a lot of kills. There's a lot of dying happening at the end. Okay, so at the end there, I'm sorry, my brain kind of exploded. So at the end there, it looked like they were that Droid and Sword were just end up zoning 12-inch for quite a while there, while the rest of the team were trying to end, but it didn't actually end up being enough because with the respawns coming through, they were able to secure the kills. I'm not sure if there's a little bit of light trolling happening with not hitting the Nexus, but they were able to secure the kills before it came through. They counter go for the counter end, and Hippo ends up dying under tower, and Athena gets to about 1
Mhm.
HP, and they aren't able to end on the other side with like 1 HP on the Nexus, and they just run it back and end the game. So on the backside of
It's
that, I
just,
I, I
oh
can't really
man.
tell you. I mean, obviously, Dark Horse looking quite good throughout a lot of that game, but it was just really back and forth overall. I mean, you think about the Footlongs definitely had a lot of good plays throughout it.
No, right? I mean, they generally speaking, I would have put the money on Footlongs just getting all those drakes and things early, but after they kind of fumbled a little bit with the early early late game, if that makes sense, team fights, uh, they just kind of lost control to the Viego, which is understandable. I mean, it is a scaling pick, but
Yeah. I mean, I kind of want to draw attention to this Shaco damage. That's
oh no,
nothing
I
to kind of
agree. I
joke
mean,
about.
that's
That was seriously something. And yeah, at the end, he kind of just got one bopped by the Viego. But like, I mean, Elder buff is a pretty strong buff as it turns out, and he was definitely doing something.
no for sure. I mean, there were a couple times that uh, he was last man standing on the field and just trying to fish for those plays, and I respect that. So
Okay.
there's a good
Yeah,
chance for mistakes to be made.
Wally,
What's up?
I want you to mentally prepare yourself for a second because I'm about to hit you with you know, I'm not even sure Stephen Hawking, rest in peace, could solve this problem. Okay, who do we
Uh
pick as MVP?
oh. Oh no. Crap. I knew you were gonna ask this.
um,
It's tough.
for me, I mean, I think it's between Teague or Droid. I think Droid
Yeah.
had a really
So
good series,
Droid
kind of like
was.
an unsung hero throughout a lot of that.
Yeah.
Sword was kind of doing what he always does. Lin was the beneficiary of a lot of help for some of the early games. Obviously, popped off in some of the fights, but I think the difference makers were definitely Teague or Droid throughout these
No,
two
I
series.
I agree. Droid is who popped into my head just because those Seraphine ults were so essential to winning the games. But obviously, Teague kind of game one knew what he needed to do early to get control, and then was able to convert a lead game two into a win. So
All right, yeah, I'm just kind of looking through the chat, and I am a man of the people, so we're gonna go with Droid for this one. I
okay,
definitely agree with that. I think he had some great
yeah,
ults, great pop offs, and let's go ahead and get him in here.
okay.
Droid, how you doing, man?
Doing well. Doing
How
well.
you doing, brother?
Seraphine feel?
Yeah, it's how'd you like that ending?
Oh my god.
Hey, I'm ask me
I'm just
that
happy it's
about
the last game of the week. That's all I
yeah.
gotta say.
Ask
What
me
the
that
hell?
tomorrow when I've had a kind of a chance to sleep on it. Uh, my goodness. So can you kind of run us through what the comms were at the end there? That last like 2.5, 3 minutes of gameplay. What was going on
Yeah, I
when
mean,
you were pushing
obviously
Nexus
a
turrets
little
and
bit of
then
a miscue on that. Like if you do one or the other, like attack the Nexus or kill their god, I think we're good there. But obviously we didn't have the damage to do both. Which you did.
uh was there ever any worry like after you guys got aced with Elder, like was there ever like, oh my god, did they just win? Like did we
I was
actually just throw the game?
100% sure the game was over. Like
Oh
we're going to game
no.
three. Like
Oh god.
I don't know
Man.
how it wasn't. And then as soon as Hippogriff executed, then it was like, oh, well, maybe they can't finish. And then it was real close.
So how do you think your mental would have been in a game 3?
I think we need an extra long break.
Amen to that. Oh my god.
Oh gosh, yeah. That
Nah, we
was
got solid mental,
absolutely insane.
untiltable over here.
Yeah, I trust that you're untiltable, Droid. I'm not so sure about the rest of your team there. I think there might have been some softer mentals than you. Well,
Yeah,
you got anything?
wow. Yeah, I gotta say, just Did you the way that both games played, right? The enemy team kind of got ahead early. I mean, it was closer game 2, but they still got ahead in the mid game, games 1 and 2. Did you guys expect that and just kind of bank on the late game, or was that? Do you think that was a little bit of a surprise to you guys?
Yeah, we weren't worried about that too much. Both games, I think we had like scaling comps. We got Cassidon, right? So you just wait till level 16.
Mhm.
Game 2, giving up all the drags wasn't ideal, but it didn't end up making the difference. So, and Seraphine scales too once you get items like the healing and shielding is just ridiculous. So we weren't too worried about it.
Did Teague go into that game saying he was going full damage, or did he just
Game
decide to
2?
do that game? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we kind of needed the damage since we have no other damage source really.
Oh, I understand that.
How about particularly in that game too? How much of a surprise was that Tristana Victor kind of swapperoo?
Honestly, I didn't even notice until we were in game. I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
okay,
so I
I
wanted to,
guess.
yeah, we were kind of like wondering out loud, like, did that kind of mess with your runes? Because obviously, if you're expecting the Tristana bot, you're probably going to go with the armor runes down there in the bottom lane. But then you ended up being against double AP, and Lynn ended up being against the AD threat. So I was kind of curious. Were there comms about it? Were you guys discussing it?
I don't think anyone noticed till we were in game. Really
Quiet.
didn't see that. I did now that like once it happened, I did remember seeing that in Elthina's match history, so it made sense afterwards. But yeah, I definitely took the armor runes.
Dang man.
That's all right. I got a guardian. Like you're
Yeah,
unkillable.
yeah, true. I mean, you certainly looked like you were the guardian of the team. You had some pretty sick ults, some pretty great healing overall. Next week, you guys are faced off with front to back. Droid, you're kind of going face to face with your old bot lane buddy, A-Barn. What are
Oh
your
yeah,
thoughts on that
I've been
matchup?
waiting for this one. I think he scheduled the last match on purpose the last week. Just get the
Gotta
hype
get the
building the
hype.
whole
Well,
season.
I like
and
that.
you guys both have a lot of momentum. Obviously, front to back dropping that last series again with a sub, but still a lot of momentum with the two of you teams going to the end of the season. So that should be an exciting one.
Yeah, I'm hyped for it.
Awesome. Wally, you got anything else?
Not really. No, my dog is being a brat, and I had blood spamming me the entire last game, trying to get me to
That
get her on
was
camera. So I don't know if she
unreal.
managed to or not, but she's being terrible. So sorry
Well,
for
Droid, do
checking out a
you
little
have any final thoughts?
Uh,
Any closing
GG's.
statements you'd like to make? All right, for
GG's, well
sure.
played.
Good.
Looking
Yes.
forward to
No.
watching the replay. Should be exciting.
No toxicity. I like that.
Just
Good.
watch the game up to 30 minutes and you should be good. Your
Yeah,
mental should be
yeah.
intact.
All right.
All right, thanks so
Well,
much for joining us, dude. Wow. All right. Okay, what a crazy series. What a fun ending. Honestly, I don't think I will ever forget the last 3 minutes of that game. That was one of the most absurd things I think I have ever watched.
Yeah.
So
No.
I mean, just shout outs to everyone for sticking around and watching. No shout outs to Lucid though. Dude left halfway through game 2. He's gonna be kicking himself for that one.
Rude. Oh my god. How's he gonna flame people correctly at the end of here? I don't know.
True. I hope he actually goes through and watches through that. But
Good highlight reel today though. So
for
I
sure,
loved
yeah.
it.
And as we kind of close it out, I just want to thank you, Wally. Thank you so much for joining the cast for a really fun 2-game series. And huge shout out to Zolik in particular, Steve on the production for stepping up for today. Really appreciate you stepping up and making sure that the series still gets produced. And thank goodness too. So
Thank you.
uh,
I always have fun here. So
for sure, yeah. And with that, thank you to everyone for watching along and what was sticking around for that ending. It was really, really a great time. And I know as soon as this cast is over, I'm going through and watching through that last little bit of gameplay. So, all right, thank you so much, everyone. Our next matchup is going to be on Sunday, but between Dads After Dark and the Kangaroo Corral. It's going to be casted by Frugier and Tolson and produced by Droid. We'll hope you still stick around for the last week of TCL. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. We'll see you later.